Thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Joy Lim Nakrin, joined by attorney Erica Wilson this afternoon. Thank you so much for being with us, Ms. Wilson. So we want to talk about some of the top legal stories that we're following right now, and we want to start with this issue that, we've been following so closely, these allegations of impropriety against Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. So now the newest thing is there is a committee that has been formed. A committee has now been formed to investigate Miss Willis. So Senators Bill Cosworth, Greg Dolezal, Jason Estevez, John Kennedy, Blake Tillery, Harold Jones, Bo Hatchett, Steve Gooch, Gloria Butler, all making up this committee. And again, this is stemming from allegations that, Miss Willis had some sort of improper relationship with her special prosecutor on the Trump investigation, Nathan Wade. All right, so Erica, first of all, what do you think of the fact that there is such a committee formed, and what do you think they're going to find?
Well, I'm glad that there is a committee. There does need to be some oversight, and this is exactly what you expect in this type of situation. You cannot prosecute a former president without having yourself subjected to this level of scrutiny. I think what we're going to expect to find is whether or not there was any actual impropriety between Attorney Willis and Attorney Ward, and whether or not that impropriety led to her giving him essentially this power to be the lead prosecutor on this case.
So what kinds of questions would be asked, in your opinion?
Well, I think, there's going to be a lot of questions asked. I think we have to kind of go back to day one. I think it's unfortunate that a lot of this is kind of getting lost in the sauce of everything that's kind of happening with Mr. Ward and his divorce, which actually doesn't really have much to do with whether or not, Fani Willis has any impropriety in this. This is more so an ethical question, and whether or not was Mr. Ward qualified enough to handle a case of this juncture. Again, this is a case of first impression. It's unprecedented. We've never seen a former sitting president be prosecuted to this extent of the law, and so certainly they're going to want to peel back the layers on his experience and see whether or not, but for the fact of his relationship, whatever it may be, with Fani Willis, was he given that position?
Yeah. So, another thing that has really come out of this is this focus on the Wade divorce case. And, one of the new developments here is that the divorce case has been unsealed. It's being unsealed, so the records are public. And, this case between Jocelyn Wade and Nathan Wade, and they're getting the divorce. And as we reported to our viewers a while back, Fani Willis had been subpoenaed to testify in the divorce proceedings. She filed a motion to quash that so that she wouldn't have to testify, and the judge ordered a stay, essentially saying, okay, let's put that on hold. You don't have to testify as of right now, but we're going to wait and see how Wade's testimony turns out and then decide. There is a hearing on that matter scheduled for later this week. It's actually, let's see, I think it might be Friday, but in either case, the point is, it's a wait-and-see type situation, whether Fani Willis is going to have to testify in the Wade divorce proceedings, and it's really dependent on how Nathan Wade testifies. So my question to you is, what kind of testimony would Mr. Wade have to give or not give that would then lead to Fani Willis having to testify in this case?
So the testimony that the judge would want to hear is something notifying the court that there is no need to bring in Fani Willis, and whether or not, to focus on the personal aspect of the relationship. Inevitably, the reason why Fani, nobody wants to be subject to a subpoena in a divorce if you are the alleged mistress in this situation, but we're not dealing with an ordinary mistress type situation. We're dealing with the prosecutor, the DA in Fulton County, and she's prosecuting some heavy hitting cases. And so we want to make sure that we are able to protect the integrity of that case, because certainly, you don't want to get caught up in the minutia and the pettiness of hurt feelings from the divorce. And so the judge needs to be very careful and very strategic in whether or not we're going to subject this prosecutor to being put on the stand and questioned about. Inevitably, they work together, so there's going to be some overlap of work-related stuff in conjunction with their personal behaviors.
Absolutely. Okay, so of course, the reason we're talking about this so much is that Mr. Wade and Ms. Willis together have been prosecuting Mr. Trump and his co-defendants for alleged election interference. Well, now there's some new developments regarding Mr. Trump, and that is he is staying on Illinois' primary ballot. And this is something that just came down just a short time ago. Really interesting for anyone who's been following. So the Illinois 8-member election board unanimously declined to remove Mr. Trump, of course, the Republican 2024 frontrunner, before the U.S. Supreme Court decides on whether his role in the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol attack makes him ineligible for the presidency. Illinois is one of several states where Trump critics have pushed to remove him from the ballot for violating constitutional ban on office holders holding, being engaged in insurrection, and critics definitely vowing to appeal to state court. The Supreme Court next week also scheduled to hear arguments on a Colorado case in which Trump was stricken from the ballot. A decision in Maine is on hold. Okay, so now, Erica, what is your reaction to what's happening in Illinois that Mr. Trump is staying on the primary ballot there? Is that a surprise?
It's not a surprise. I mean, again, I keep using the phrase that pays, but this case is unprecedented. We have never seen this before, and so I don't think any state is kind of quick to rush to want to remove him from the ballot. There's going to be so much. I don't want to use the word backlash, but there's going to be so much court involvement. Trump has unlimited resources and able to, to be able to kind of appeal these things. And so I'm not surprised to see. I mean, again, this is not something that is very common. A lot of states are kind of proceeding with caution, and they're not wanting to, I guess, upset the apple cart by being the one to remove him. I don't think we're going to see a lot of the removals unless we get some decisions from the Supreme Court or he's actually found guilty on any of the charges that he's facing.
All right. Appreciate your expertise on that. I want to take our viewers now to a live look inside of a Fulton County Superior Courtroom because it looks like everyone is getting settled back once again inside the courtroom for YSL. Court went on recess. Oh gosh, I think it was 11:45 or so. It was a little bit before noon, and the judge told the jurors and everyone in court, let's get back into session around 1 o'clock. You see that people are up and about, so court's not exactly in session, but it looks like people are getting assembled. And I want to let our viewers know that if you do want to watch and listen to everything happening in court, you can go over to our secondary stream. That's our special events stream. And, you can watch our gavel-to-gavel coverage there. And you see, that gentleman, the attorney there, Brian Steele, kind of on the right side of your screen. That is the attorney for Jeffrey Williams, Young Thug, a.k.a. Young Thug. And you see Mr. Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug, in that beige suit. Of course, he's been sitting through this trial, his own trial, where he is accused of being the mastermind and one of the co-founders of the YSL criminal street gang. It is an alleged street gang, an alleged criminal enterprise. And so what the jury has been hearing about is a song, and of course, one of the controversial points about the case is that lyrics are being used as evidence of alleged criminal activity, but Young Thug's lawyers are claiming that some of the lyrics point to another narrative, just yesterday, Young Thug's song "Droppin' Jewels" was the focus of the trial. Prosecutors asking witnesses and former co-defendant Trontavious Stevens about the lyrics there. And Young Thug's lawyer, who we just saw, Brian Steele, is saying that Thug actually stands for truly humble under God. So a lot of different controversy there. Today we've been hearing from officers kind of discussing a different narrative. Erica, what is your take on what the jury's been hearing and how this whole case has been unfolding?
I'm so very disappointed in this case, and I've been saying that from the very beginning. I don't understand how you can bootstrap a conviction based on rap lyrics. There's several reasons why. People need to have creative license to be able to do these type of things and create art. I tell people all the time, my little brother grew up in the suburbs. He went to one of the most exclusive private schools in the state of Georgia, and he fancies himself a rapper. And I can promise you, he has never done any of the things that he raps about, but it's salacious. He has, somewhat of a following on YouTube, so apparently his listeners like it. There's no credence behind his lyrics, and the same thing here. It's a prosecutorial overreach in this set of facts to be able to use these lyrics. I'm very disheartened. You're playing these lyrics for jurors who have probably never had any exposure to this particular genre of music, and I think playing these lyrics in this capacity will be more prejudicial than it will be probative if they don't have the context to understand that a lot of people, they make this stuff up. They do stuff for street cred. They want to look harder than what they do, and they want to be able to sell records. And I think if they don't have that particular context, playing these songs can be somewhat prejudicial.
So, Erica, I want to hear, this is just because you brought it up, your brother's song. So what is your brother rapping about that you say he definitely did not do?
He has rapped about, things that people do in the streets, committing crimes that he's never committed. I listen to his music and I actually laugh, but I understand that a lot of these rappers and artists rap about things that they've never done.
Yeah.
Carrie Underwood talked about, tearing up somebody's car. Has she ever done that to a boyfriend? We don't know, but it was a catchy song. We all liked it, and it sold a lot of records. And so I think we start to get into the minutia and starting to pick apart people's creative licenses and then want to bootstrap a conviction based on rap lyrics. And I think it's for lack of a better word, it's just silly.
Right. I gotcha. So one of the things that, is really a little bit controversial and something that we've been paying very close attention to because we're media is there was a motion to limit media coverage, in terms of some of the testimony that can be broadcast during the course of the trial. What I have noticed is that in the morning session today, of course, we heard from several officers. We expect to hear more testimony from officers throughout the day. But in the last officer's testimony that we heard, we didn't see the officer. So let me ask you, what do you think about what we'll see going forward? Are we going to be limited in what we can see and hear out of the testimony? And should we be?
Potentially, just because of the type of element that we're dealing with. A lot of police officers don't want the notoriety. We don't know if potentially they probably may work undercover. And so there's a need to protect, to some extent, their anonymity. And then there are just certain facts that people typically don't want to be publicized like that. And I think that, again, just the sensationalism of this trial, just because of the unique nature of how they're trying to prosecute this particular case, the length of time that this case is taking and that it's going to continue to take, and the amount of resources that they're using up for this, I will again use the word silly prosecution, have people kind of glued to this case to follow it. And so certainly there are certain things that, certain witnesses may have that they don't want to be on this national forefront, because this case is getting, not only coverage here, but it's getting national coverage as well. And so you do have times where certain witnesses don't want to be caught up in the publicity of it all.
Okay, so you call it a silly prosecution. Any final thoughts on especially why you call it a silly prosecution?
It's silly because, again, I've been practicing law for a very long time. I listen to rap music. I understand that people rap about stuff that they have not done. Singers sing about stuff they have not done. Beyonce may make a song tomorrow about divorcing a man. That doesn't mean she's leaving Jay-Z. It's just what sells. And so I think it's just silly to do that. And I think it's unfortunate that we're utilizing all of these resources to be able to do it just so we can have this case of first impression to say that we've done that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Erica. So before we let you go, I also want just to ask you a little bit about your practice areas. What kind of cases, if the viewers are interested, would you be interested in taking and maybe helping even our viewers with?
Yeah, certainly. So I am the managing attorney for the Fairness Firm here in Atlanta, Georgia. We do all types of cases, and we have affiliate offices all over the world. We can help you with personal injury cases. I can even help you with divorce cases if, didn't help Mr. Ward in his case, but I can certainly help you all with divorces, medical malpractice, premise liability, and things like that.
All right. Thank you so much, Erica Wilson, joining us. Appreciate your expertise and analysis. And I do want to leave our viewers with another live look inside the Fulton County Superior Court. Again, you are looking live right now at Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, and his attorney is, court is getting back in session for the afternoon session once again. If you want to watch our gavel to gavel coverage, go over to our special event stream right here on Atlanta News First Plus. All right, thank you so much for joining us and have a great day.